Hey, what's up, coin lovers? Have you ever heard of a coin that's so sneaky, it could walk right past you without even being noticed? You're holding it, it's right in your hand, and boom, it's worth more than what you thought. Well, today we're diving into one of those exact coins, the 2009 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. But not just any penny. This little guy might be hiding a nice little treasure. And don't worry, we'll make sure you spot it before it walks away. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's get into this. Who even cares about pennies anymore? Well, my friend, that's where you're wrong. Sure, we've all had our share of complaints about pennies. They're a pain in the pocket, they get lost in the couch cushions, and let's not even talk about those loud, annoying sounds they make when they drop on a hard floor. But here's the thing, some pennies aren't just spare change. Oh no, they could actually be worth more than you might think. Now, if you're still with me, let's break down this little sneaky coin. We're talking about the 2009 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark. A lot of you might be going, wait, there are mint marks. Yes, indeed. Mint marks are tiny little letters on the coin that tell you where it was made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia. But in 2009, some of these pennies came out without any mint mark at all. Here's where it gets interesting. Most pennies from 2009 have a mint mark, and you'll find a lot of them floating around in your spare change. But when you find a 2009 penny with no mint mark, that's where things start to get spicy. You see, these unmarked pennies were minted in the Philadelphia Mint, but for some reason, they were released without that little letter on them. And that makes them a bit rare, which means they could have some value beyond just 1 cent. So, what's the actual value of this sneaky penny? Well, it's not exactly going to make you a millionaire, unless you somehow find a stash of them, but I'm not making any promises here. But right now, the current market value for a 2009 no mint mark Lincoln penny is about $1.80. Yes, that's right, a penny worth $1.80. Crazy, right? You might want to go check your coin jar right now to see if you have one sitting in there, but let me clarify something first. Not every 2009 penny without a mint mark will be worth that much. You need to look for certain details to ensure it's in good condition. A penny that's in mint condition, with clear features and no wear, is obviously going to be worth more. But even in decent condition, this little gem still holds some extra value. So, I remember a time when I was going through my old change jar. I'm sure you've done it too, shaking it around like it's going to magically reveal treasure. Well, on this particular day, I actually found a 2009 penny with no mint mark. I thought to myself, okay, this is just another penny, no big deal. But then something caught my eye, it didn't have the usual D or S. I googled it, and to my surprise, it was one of those rare no mint mark coins. Now, I didn't rush out and sell it or anything, but it did get me thinking. What else could be hiding in my collection? It's like I was unknowingly sitting on a small treasure chest. That moment was a huge aha moment for me. And I bet it could be for you too. So, if you've got any 2009 pennies laying around, don't just toss them into the "I don't need these" pile. Take a second to check for that mint mark, or lack thereof. It's simple. Grab a magnifying glass, and start with the front of the penny, where Abraham Lincoln's portrait is. Look to the right of his shoulder, just under the "In God We Trust" phrase. This is where you'll normally see the mint mark. If you don't see anything, then congratulations, you might have a winner, but don't just look at it and say, looks good. Condition is key. A penny with scratches, heavy wear, or discoloration won't fetch much of a price. Ideally, the penny should be in pretty good shape. So if you find one that looks almost brand new, you're on the right track. Alright, folks, let's wrap this up. If you're digging through your old coins and come across a 2009 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark, don't just toss it into the "I'm not going to deal with this" jar. It could actually be worth more than you think, around $1.80 if it's in decent condition. That's nearly 180 times its face value, so, here's my challenge to you: check those jars, check the couch cushions, and check your wallets. You never know what you might find. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe for more tips, tricks, and strategies to find coins worth money. Trust me, you're going to want to stay tuned for more awesome content about coins that could change your pocket change into something much more valuable. Drop a comment below if you found anything interesting in your own coin searches. I want to hear about your treasure hunts. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button if you learned something new today. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and accidental treasure hunters. Ever dug through your couch cushions or gone through an old jar of loose change and thought, hey, maybe there's a hidden gem in here? Well, today we're diving into one penny, literally one, that could be worth a lot more than its face value. Yep, I'm talking about the 1976 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Hold on to your change purses because this little guy might be worth more than your coffee order at the fancy cafe down the street. Stick around to learn everything about this mysterious penny, how to spot it, why it's worth more than just 1 cent, and how you can cash in on your lucky find. By the end, you'll have the tools to become a savvy coin collector with some serious, mint condition knowledge. Let's get started. Okay, let's talk about this penny. The 1976 Abraham Lincoln penny, but here's the twist: it has no mint mark. Yeah, you heard me right. No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, just a simple blank spot where the mint mark should be. So, what does this mean for you as a coin collector? Well, let's break it down. First things first, why does the lack of a mint mark make a penny stand out? Typically, U.S. coins will have a mint mark to show where they were made. In 1976, pennies were being produced in the Philadelphia Mint, but here's the kicker: some pennies came out without any mint mark at all. A little mystery, a little rare, and that's what gives these coins their potential value. Now, let's talk numbers. A regular 1976 penny is worth, well, 1 cent. But a 1976 penny with no mint mark can be worth, drumroll, please, around $1.70, sometimes even more depending on the condition and the buyer. I know, you're probably thinking, hold on, I've got 50 of these pennies in a jar somewhere. Am I sitting on a gold mine? Well, not exactly. Let's talk about what makes this penny special. See, most 1976 pennies you'll find have the mint mark on them. But the ones without the mint mark, especially in good condition, are rarer. They are a cool little anomaly in the coin world. It's like finding a 4-leaf clover in a field of 3-leaf ones, rare, lucky, and worth holding on to. And if you're lucky enough to find one in what we call uncirculated condition, meaning it's basically brand new, never been in circulation, then you could be looking at a value closer to $3 or even more. Cha-ching! That's like finding a hidden treasure at the bottom of your change jar. Honestly, I was once the person who threw pennies into a jar and thought, who needs these? They're worthless. But then, one day, I decided to get a little curious. I went through my jar, and boom, there it was. A 1976 penny with no mint mark. I had no idea at the time it was worth anything, but I kept it, just in case. Fast forward to a few months later, and I sold that bad boy for a sweet $1.75. Let's just say, I had a lot more fun buying snacks with my found fortune than I ever did tossing pennies into a wishing well. True story. So, here's the deal: it's not going to make you rich overnight, but this penny could be a fun way to dip your toes into coin collecting. And who knows? Maybe it's the start of a whole new hobby for you. Alright, so the next time you're rooting through your change jar, take a closer look at those pennies. The 1976 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could just be sitting there, ready to boost your collection, or at least your snack budget. If you enjoyed learning about this little coin treasure, hit that like button. And if you want to hear more about coins worth money, rare finds, and tips to build your collection, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss out on all the cool coin knowledge I've got coming your way. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Have you ever dug through your pocket change and thought, hey, this looks special? Maybe I've got a fortune hiding here. Well, you're not alone. I've been there, and I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten way too excited over a penny, only to later find out it's worth, well, a penny. But there's one little copper coin from 1981 that might actually be worth more than its face value. That's right, I'm talking about the 1981 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And no, this isn't some fantasy coin we're talking about, it's real, and it could be worth $1.60 or more, so, stick around because today, we're diving into what makes this coin so special, how you can figure out if you've got one hiding in your change jar, and why this penny isn't just a piece of metal to toss into the jar to collect dust. Oh, and trust me, this will be way more fun than your last history class. Ready? Let's get started. Okay, first things first, let's talk about why the 1981 D Lincoln penny stands out. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint, and while it looks just like any other penny at first glance, there's a specific factor that makes it potentially worth more than just 1 cent, the minting error. Yup, we're not talking about some random limited edition commemorative penny here, this one's all about a small detail that could make a big difference. Now, you might be asking yourself, wait, how much can a penny really be worth? Well, my friend, depending on the condition and the specifics of that penny, we're talking about $1.60 or even more. That's right, a humble penny could be sitting in your collection, just waiting to be discovered and potentially worth over $1. Trust me, I know, it sounds like a too good to be true situation, but when you start looking closely at the right pennies, you might just strike gold. Okay, let's break it down. The value of this penny doesn't come from just being old, it's about the condition and any possible minting errors that can make it stand out from the crowd. For a 1981 D penny to be worth $1.60 or even more, it needs to be in mint condition. We're talking about a coin that has almost no wear and tear. A shiny, crisp penny that's aged like fine wine. In fact, if you find one in gem uncirculated condition, you could be looking at even higher value. Now, about that mint mark. The D stands for the Denver Mint where the coin was struck, but when it comes to value, it's not just about the D. It's also about the quality. Most pennies minted that year are mass-produced and common, but a well-preserved one, with no dings or scratches, is the one you want. But here's where it gets a little tricky. If you come across a 1981 penny that's been well worn from circulation, the chances of it being worth more than a penny drop significantly. So, condition is everything. So, how do you check if your 1981 D penny is a hidden gem? Well, let me share a personal story here, because who doesn't love a good story, right? A few months ago, I was at a coin show, browsing through some old pennies, and I stumbled upon a 1981 D penny that looked like it had seen some serious action. It was scratched, bent, and had that general, been through a lot, look. Naturally, I thought it was just a regular penny, not worth much. But then I got curious and took a closer look. Under better lighting, I noticed something odd. The D mint mark on the coin was a little bit off-center. That didn't seem right. Turns out, I had found a minor minting error, which can sometimes increase the value of a coin, especially if it's rare enough. After getting it appraised, I learned that the value had increased just because of that small minting quirk. It wasn't the $1.60 jackpot, but it was still a valuable lesson for me, and it taught me that paying attention to the details really matters when dealing with rare coins. So, how do you know if your coin is worth money? Here's what I suggest: look at the condition. If it's shiny and fresh looking, you're on the right track. Use a magnifying glass or a loupe to inspect the fine details. If you're unsure, don't hesitate to get it appraised by a professional. It may seem like a lot of effort for a single penny, but trust me, if you can identify a coin that's worth more than its face value, it can be a game changer in your coin collecting journey. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where can I find these pennies? Well, my friend, that's where the hunt comes in. You could have a 1981 penny sitting in your change right now, just waiting for you to notice it. That's right, every time you grab some coffee or pay for your lunch, you could be staring at a small treasure. If you're serious about it, consider checking your change more often. You might be surprised at what you find. Keep your eyes peeled for coins from the 1980s in general. Some of them, like the 1981 penny, are surprisingly valuable. You can also check through rolls of pennies at your local bank, or even ask around if friends and family have any old coins lying around. You never know where you might find a diamond in the rough. Alright, now that we've gotten all the details about the 1981 penny out in the open, let me leave you with this: coin collecting isn't just about finding rare treasures. It's about learning, appreciating history, and, let's face it, having a little fun along the way. So, if you have a 1981 penny sitting in your collection or hiding in your change jar, go ahead and give it a second look. It could be worth more than you think, and hey, if you want more tips on rare coins, coin values, and some fun strategies for finding hidden gems, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll keep bringing you all the tips and tricks to help you level up your coin collection game. I promise we'll have a lot of laughs, a lot of learning, and maybe even a few more pennies that are worth more than they seem. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more coin-worthy advice. Stay sharp out there. Hey, coin lovers! Have you ever found a penny on the ground and thought, is this just pocket change, or is it actually a treasure? Well, let me tell you, sometimes a penny can be worth more than you think. And today, I'm talking about one penny in particular. The 1982 mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You might just be sitting on a little goldmine and not even know it. That's right, folks. If you've got a 1982 Lincoln penny in your pocket, you could be looking at more than a cent's worth. We'll dive into its value, why it's so special, and how much it's worth right now on the market. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. Because, spoiler alert, it's worth a lot more than you'd think. Let's jump into it. So, what's all the hype about this 1982 penny? Well, first off, let's get some basics out of the way. The D stands for the Denver Mint, which is one of the 2 U.S. mint facilities that produces coins. The other is in Philadelphia. The 1982 penny is a pretty standard-looking coin on the surface, right? You've got Lincoln's familiar face, the one that's been gracing our pennies since the 1900s. But here's where things get interesting. 1982 was a very special year for pennies. This was the year the U.S. Mint made a huge change. They switched the composition of the penny from 95% copper to 97.5% zinc and a little copper coating. That means, before 1982, the penny was made mostly of copper, and after 1982, it's mostly zinc with just a thin layer of copper. And that tiny change created a pretty big deal for collectors. Now, you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with the 1982 penny? Well, in that year, the mint also created some pennies that were heavier, made from the old copper composition, and others made with the new zinc one. So, you've got 2 different types of pennies minted in 1982, but one big difference. Here's where it gets really cool: the 1982 copper penny, yes, I said copper, is rare. Only a handful of them were made, and they didn't stick around for long because the mint quickly transitioned to the new composition. This makes that 1982 copper penny super valuable. Now, I know what you're thinking, okay, but how much are we talking about here? How much is my penny worth? Well, here's the fun part. Depending on its condition, the 1982 copper penny can be worth anywhere from $1.50 to a lot more if it's in mint condition. Yep, that's right. Just by having one of these little copper nuggets, you could be holding a coin that's worth much more than its face value. In fact, some collectors will pay top dollar for a really nice one. But, here's the big but, you have to make sure it's the right kind of penny. Not all 1982 pennies are created equal. Some are just your standard zinc pennies, and they're worth, well, about a cent. But if you happen to find one of the rare copper ones, You could be looking at some serious coin. And no, I'm not pulling your leg. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, but it's definitely worth keeping your eyes peeled for. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, before I got into coin collecting, I thought I could find a gold coin just lying around on the sidewalk. I mean, come on, who doesn't want to find treasure, right? So, one day, I was walking down the street and I spotted something shiny. I picked it up, thinking, this is it. I found a gold coin. But nope, it was just a dull penny. Turns out it was a 1982D zinc penny. Not the treasure I was hoping for. But hey, it was a good reminder, always check your pennies. You never know when the right one could turn up, and you might be a lot richer than you thought. So, to wrap it up, if you've got a 1982D penny, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. Especially if it's one of those rare copper ones. And who knows, maybe you've already got a hidden gem sitting in your jar of loose change. The moral of the story is, don't underestimate your pocket change. You could be one lucky find away from cashing in on some serious coin. If you want more tips on finding valuable coins and other hidden treasures, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got more fun and informative videos coming your way, so stay tuned. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin or had a funny coin hunting experience, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. Remember, you might just have a treasure sitting right under your nose, or in your pocket. Catch you in the next one, coin enthusiasts. Keep those pennies safe, you never know when they might turn into something worth more than a cent. Hey there, coin lovers. Alright, imagine this, you're rummaging through an old jar of coins you found in your grandpa's attic, or maybe it's just the loose change in your car, and you stumble upon a 1993 penny. At first glance, it seems pretty, well, average, right? But hold on, did you know that penny could actually be worth more than just 1 cent? Yep, I'm talking about the 1993 mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This little copper coin might be worth a lot more than you'd think, and I'm here to tell you why. Now, don't go tossing it in your just a penny pile yet. Stick with me, because today we're diving into the fascinating world of this 1993 penny, the market value, and how to spot one that could potentially be a hidden treasure. If you've ever thought, why are pennies even worth collecting? This video is going to change that. So grab your coins and your curiosity, and let's get into it. Alright, let's break it down, starting with the basics. The 1993 Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark, and like all pennies, it features Abraham Lincoln on the front. But, before you just roll your eyes and think, yeah, it's just another penny, hear me out. First off, the 1993 penny, in its regular form, is worth, well, 1 cent. Shocking, I know. But here's where it gets interesting. While the penny itself doesn't have any huge printing errors or rare variations, its value can skyrocket if certain conditions are met. And trust me, these are the pennies you should be paying attention to. Let's talk about the condition of the penny. Like with any collectible, condition is key. If you find a 1993 penny that's in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth far more than just the face value. We're talking anywhere from a few dollars to upwards of $1.40, depending on its grade and demand. Not bad for a coin that spent most of its life bouncing around in your grandmother's couch cushions, huh? And yes, I know what you're thinking, a penny is worth $1.40. No way. But, hey, don't take my word for it. Coin collectors are out there, and they are willing to pay for certain pennies in good condition. Some of these collectors are looking for coins to complete a set, or maybe they're just after the specific year and mint mark of a certain penny, like our 1993 And this is where the coin's history really comes into play. So, here's a little trivia for you. The 1993 penny was part of a series of coins that were minted during the early 1990s. You might think, hey, that's not that old. But in the world of coin collecting, even a penny from the 90s can hold some value, if it's in good shape. Over time, as more and more pennies get lost or worn down, the ones that are well preserved become rarer and more desirable. It's like finding a vintage baseball card from the 90s. Sure, there's a ton of them, but if you find one in mint condition, it could be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. Now, don't get discouraged if you don't have a perfect, mint condition 1993 penny just yet. Let me tell you a quick story about my first coin hunt. So, there I was, flipping through coins in a random old jar my dad had. I was so sure I'd find something super rare, like a 1909 SVDB penny or something, right? Instead, I found a 1993 penny. At first, I almost laughed and thought, yeah, right, this is worth nothing. But then, as I did a little research, as one does when they get excited about something new, I found out that, with the right condition, it could actually be worth a decent amount. I was like, wait, what? Is this a real thing? So, yeah, it turns out that penny I almost tossed in the jar of meh actually had some value. Moral of the story: never, ever underestimate a penny. So, what should you look for if you're hunting down a 1993 penny? First, keep an eye out for mint condition. If it's got no scratches, it's shiny, and it's got sharp features on the face of Lincoln and the surrounding details, that's what you're after. These pennies will be the ones worth more than their face value. You also want to check if the coin has been well preserved over time. If it's been through a bunch of dirty hands or been sitting in someone's change jar for years, chances are it's not going to be worth much. But if it's looking good, clean, and shiny, you might just have a winner on your hands. Also, don't forget, some pennies that have been struck incorrectly or have a noticeable error can be worth more too. Minting errors can make a coin a lot rarer, so if you come across a 1993 penny that has an odd feature, like a misprint or double die, you might want to get it appraised. But let's be real, these mistakes are rare. You'll most likely be looking for well-preserved, good condition coins. Alright, so let's wrap this up. The 1993 Abraham Lincoln penny might not be the rarest coin in the world, but if you find one in mint condition, it could be worth a lot more than you'd expect. Plus, if you're one of those people who love to dig through old coins like I do, you know that the thrill of finding a valuable one is worth its weight in gold, or, copper. So, what are you waiting for? Go check your coin collection, or that jar of change sitting in your living room, because you could be sitting on a small treasure. And remember, it's not just about finding pennies that are worth more than a cent, it's about having fun, learning something new, and who knows? You might just make some extra cash in the process. Before you head off to check your coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any future coin tips. I'll be here every week with more insider info on coins worth money, coin hunting strategies, and maybe even a couple more hilarious coin-related mishaps. Hey there, coin collectors and curious treasure hunters. Have you ever thought you might have a small fortune hidden in your change jar? Well, what if I told you that an Abraham Lincoln penny from 1996 could be worth way more than a penny? Yes, you heard that right. If you've got a 1996 mint marked Lincoln penny lying around, you could be sitting on a potential goldmine. Okay, maybe not gold per se, but definitely something worth more than its face value. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting and uncovering the surprising value of a 1996 Lincoln penny. Let's get started. So, what makes a 1996 Lincoln penny worth $1.30 when most of us are used to seeing them worth, well, a penny? It's all about the mint mark and the condition of the coin. That little D on the coin. It's not just there to add a bit of flair, it actually tells you something about where the penny was produced. In this case, it's from the Denver Mint. That tiny detail might not seem like much, but it's part of the equation that could add extra value to your coin. Now, if you're like me, you probably remember when pennies were just a few cents in value and not something you'd obsess over, right? Well, I'll be the first to admit that I wasn't a serious coin collector until I stumbled across a few rare ones in my spare change. Funny enough, I remember a time I was sitting in a diner, eating pancakes, best pancakes ever, by the way, when I noticed a 1996 penny in my change. I almost tossed it into my pocket with the rest of the coins, but something told me to take a closer look that I decided to look it up, and boom, turns out, this little coin was worth way more than I ever imagined. Sure, it wasn't a golden penny or anything, but seeing that $1.30 valuation really made me feel like I had just unearthed a hidden treasure in my pocket. It was a reminder that sometimes, the things we overlook might be worth more than we think, so, let's break down why that 1996 penny might be worth $1.30 today. First, it's important to know that not all 1996 pennies are worth that much. The value hinges on factors like the condition of the coin, its rarity, and the demand in the market. A coin in great condition, free of scratches, wear, and tears, is naturally going to fetch a higher price. So, before you go celebrating, take a good look at the coin in your pocket. In general, the 1996 penny isn't exactly rare, but it is one of those coins that collectors are keeping an eye on. Minted in large quantities, these pennies are still floating around out there, but it's the condition of the coin that can really set it apart. A penny that's been sitting in a drawer for decades, untouched, might be in better condition than one that's been through 100 vending machines and the laundry. The lesson here? Condition is key. Don't just go thinking that every single penny is worth more than its face value. You gotta get picky. Now, let's talk numbers for a second. Even though the 1996 penny isn't extremely rare, its value can still be pretty significant. Collectors look for coins that were either poorly made, have unique imperfections, or that were part of a low mintage run. In this case, the 1996 penny falls into the minting quality category, which means that a pristine specimen can fetch upwards of $1.30. It's not exactly a life-changing amount of money, but hey, if you have a whole jar full of them, you could be sitting on a nice little stash. That's the beauty of coin collecting. You never know when you might hit the jackpot, but here's the kicker, not every coin is going to have the same value. What really adds the value is the collector market. If a coin becomes scarce or desirable, that's when the price skyrockets. And that's why you might hear about collectors paying crazy prices for pennies from the past. So, if you have a 1996 penny, keep it in a safe spot, take care of it, and make sure it's in the best condition possible. And don't be afraid to get it appraised if you think it could be worth more than you're expecting. After all, it's better to know than to let that potential treasure sit in a jar collecting dust. So, there you have it, the 1996 Lincoln penny might not be a goldmine, but it could be worth more than you think. Whether it's a $1.30 penny or something rarer, it's a great reminder that value is all around us, sometimes hidden in plain sight. And who knows? You might have a few little treasures tucked away in your pocket or your coin jar that could surprise you. Before you go off searching through your change for that next lucky penny, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join me for more tips on coins that are worth money. If you love coins, love finding unexpected treasures, or just love learning cool stuff about the stuff we use every day, this is the channel for you. And hey, next time you're munching on pancakes, keep an eye on your change. You never know when that next rare penny might pop up. Thanks for hanging out, and remember, coin collecting doesn't have to be just about the money. It's about the joy of discovery and, of course, finding those cool little pieces of history tucked away in your pocket. Hey, coin lovers! Ever found a penny in your couch cushions, thought you were rich, and then tossed it aside like it was just another scrap of metal? Well, let me stop you right there, because some pennies, believe it or not, are worth way more than their 1-cent value. Take the 2012 Abraham Lincoln penny, for example. Yep, you heard me right, the one with no mint mark. Stick around, because today, we're diving into why that simple penny in your pocket might be worth a whole lot more than you think. And spoiler alert, it's not just because it's from 2012, so grab your magnifying glass, get comfy, and let's figure out if you've got one of these rare gems on your hands. Alright, let's start with the basics. You might be wondering, what's all the fuss about a penny? Isn't that like pocket change? Well, yeah, but sometimes, pocket change can be worth way more. In 2012, the US Mint decided to produce pennies with no mint mark. The mint mark, for those who don't know, is usually that little D or S you see on most coins. If you're looking at a 2012 penny and it doesn't have one of those little letters, you might have something pretty special. Now, here's where things get a little spicy. A mint mark is typically there to tell you which mint facility made the coin. You've got the Denver Mint, D, the San Francisco Mint, S, and the Philadelphia Mint, which, get this, doesn't usually put a mint mark on coins. So, the absence of a mint mark on that 2012 Lincoln penny actually means it came from Philly, specifically, the Philadelphia Mint. And when we're talking rare finds, that little Philly twist can add value to your coin. But don't get ahead of yourself just yet. Not every 2012 penny without a mint mark is a gold mine. You're probably thinking, hold up, $1.20. That sounds like a typo. But it's true. Well, mostly. A 2012 no mint mark penny is technically worth around $1.20. If it's in uncirculated condition. That means it's basically pristine. No dings, no scuffs, just a shiny penny that's never seen the inside of a cash register or a penny jar. But here's the kicker. The market's not as simple as it seems. Not every 2012 no mint mark penny will fetch $1.20. It's all about that condition. If your penny looks like it's been through the ringer, maybe it's a little dirty or scratched up, it won't get you the big bucks. However, if it's shiny, clean, and practically flawless, well, now you're talking. And here's something I bet you didn't know: if you've got one of these babies that's still in mint condition, it could go for even more, depending on the demand. In fact, some collectors will pay premium prices if they're trying to complete a set or need that one specific coin. I mean, who knew pennies could get so fancy, right? Okay, let me hit you with a quick story. I remember once, I was cleaning out my dad's old coin jar, looking for any rare finds, and I was getting all pumped up. I mean, the thrill of the hunt, right? Well, after about 20 minutes of digging, I found what I thought was a rare penny from the 80s. I was feeling like I had struck gold, so I rushed to the coin dealer, practically skipping, ready to cash in on my treasure. Turns out, it was just an old penny. And when the dealer saw it, he was like, "Oh, that's cute, but nope, not rare." So, yeah, that was a letdown. Moral of the story: you don't want to get your hopes up until you really know what you're looking for. So don't just assume that any old penny is a goldmine, but also, don't be afraid to double-check your coins. You never know, you might just have something more valuable than you realize. Alright, so let's pause for a sec. I know it might sound like I'm talking you out of chasing rare coins, but trust me, even if you don't find a 2012 no mint mark penny in mint condition, coin collecting is still one of the most fun and rewarding hobbies out there. You get to dive into history, learn about different eras, and sometimes, just sometimes, make a nice little profit. Plus, there's something oddly satisfying about holding a coin in your hand and thinking, wow, I can trace this back to a specific year, a specific mint, maybe even a specific person who once held it. It's like owning a little piece of history. A penny might not seem like much, but when you think of all the things it's passed through in its life, well, that's pretty cool, don't you think? So, what's the takeaway here? The 2012 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, while not the biggest coin in terms of value, could definitely be worth more than your average penny. If it's in good condition, it's certainly got potential. And if you're looking to start coin hunting, don't just throw your change around like it's all the same. Take a closer look at those pennies. You might just find something worth way more than $0.01 before you go running to your couch cushions and drawers, though, remember, condition is king. And while $1.20 might not sound like much, keep hunting and learning, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find your own hidden treasure. Now, if you enjoyed this coin talk, or got a laugh out of my penny mistake, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and coin collecting strategies to share with you, and who knows? Maybe next time, you'll find the coin that really makes you rich. Alright. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. Are you the type of person who checks your change with a magnifying glass like you're on a treasure hunt? Or maybe you're just looking to get that extra dollar you didn't even know you had tucked away in your pocket? Well, today is your lucky day because we're talking about one of the coolest coins in circulation today, the 2013 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard me right, a penny that doesn't even have a mint mark. If you're scratching your head thinking, what does that even mean, then sit back, relax, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll be well on your way to understanding why this tiny copper coin could be worth way more than you think. Alright, let's get into it. First things first, if you're looking at a 2013 penny and you're wondering why it's got no mint mark, you're not the only one. Here's the deal, usually, pennies will have a mint mark that tells you where they were made, either in Philadelphia, no mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. But, in 2013, the US Mint made a little oopsie that led to some of these pennies being released without a mint mark. It's like when you forget to put the lid back on the peanut butter jar, but in this case, it's a rare and valuable mistake. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, so how much is this penny worth? Surely it's just, well, a penny, right? And you're kinda right, but also kinda wrong. Let me break it down for you. When it first hit circulation, this penny was worth exactly 1 cent. Shocking, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Over time, collectors started realizing something special about these mintless pennies. In fact, they're now worth up to $1.10 or more in the market. Yeah, a measly penny can be worth over $1. It's like finding out that your favorite pair of socks is actually worth more than you paid for them at the thrift store. I mean, who knew? Now, I'm sure you're asking, how do I know if I've got one of these valuable little treasures? Simple. You need to look for the absence of a mint mark. If your 2013 penny has no mint mark right below Lincoln's shoulder, you're golden. It's like your very own get-out-of-jail-free card, but instead of saving you from being bankrupt in Monopoly, it might just put a little cash in your pocket. Here's a fun story from my own life. There was this one time when I was going through a box of pennies I found at a yard sale. It was one of those boxes that smelled like a mix of dust and mystery. I started sifting through the pennies, and let me tell you, I felt like Indiana Jones in a thrift store. I pulled out a couple of 2013 pennies and noticed something strange: no mint marks. I was shaking with excitement. I ran to my computer, typed 2013 no mint mark penny value, and the search results blew me away. I had accidentally stumbled upon pennies that could be worth more than a fancy latte at the local cafe. Yeah, they weren't exactly retirement money, but they were a cool find, and I felt like a coin-hoarding superhero for a minute. Anyway, back to the value part. These 2013 pennies are still in circulation, so it's totally possible to find them in your change. And if you do, don't just throw them back into your jar of loose coins. Hold on to them. Keep your eyes peeled, and who knows, you might just find a small fortune in your pocket change. And here's another pro tip for you: if you're serious about making a little coin off your collection, be sure to check the condition of your pennies. A well-kept 2013 no mint mark penny in pristine condition could fetch more than a beat-up one. Think of it like this: a shiny penny is like a fresh pair of shoes. You want it looking its best for the value to go up, right? But hey, I get it. We all have a tendency to toss things aside sometimes, thinking they're not worth much. In fact, the other day I found a bunch of old receipts in my jacket pocket. Yeah, I'm that person who collects receipts like they're rare artifacts. But wouldn't you know it? One of those receipts was for a nice dinner I didn't even remember paying for. It's like finding a 2013 penny in your laundry. So, the lesson here is, don't dismiss those pennies too quickly. Okay, let's wrap this up. If you're looking to make some extra cash with minimal effort, just check your change. The 2013 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a great example of how small details can make a big difference in the world of coin collecting. It might seem like just a little penny, but in the world of numismatics, yeah, fancy word for coin collecting, every little thing counts. So, there you have it, folks. If you've got a 2013 penny with no mint mark, go ahead and give it a second look. You could be holding on to a tiny gold mine, or at least a dollar bill with a great story behind it. And hey, if you're just starting out with coin collecting, this is a great way to dip your toes into the hobby without breaking the bank. Remember, coins aren't just for change anymore, they could change your bank balance, and if you want to keep getting tips, tricks, and treasure hunting stories like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're talking more coins, more money-making ideas, and a lot more fun here. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. Alright, happy hunting, coin collectors, and I'll catch you in the next video. Stay curious and keep those pennies close.